And who am I? That's not a secret I'll never tell. You know you love me. XOXO. Gossip Girl.
What's up? We got Gossip Girl, Season 5, Episode 19, It Girl Interrupted. This episode starts off with the icon, Dorota, delivering Blair her divorce papers. Blair becomes excited as she can finally now date Dan in the public eye without having to worry about the commodities or the dowry. The icon, Dorota, wonders how Georgina worked out the deal. Blair says it's better to be blissful and ignorant in this case. In her room, Serena is leading all of her Gossip Girl tips about her and her lack of a love life. While doing so, a message from the real Gossip Girl pops up saying that she had it for a week, and she has until the end of the day to return the Gossip Girl mantle. Serena replies that she wants to return it, but has one thing to do first. At the Empire, Chuck tells Nate how Jack isn't returning his call, and Andrew Tower can't track down Elizabeth. Nate asks if Chuck wants a relationship with her, and Chuck isn't sure, but he has time to do so. Time to think since she's MIA. Nate says he's headed to the office since Diana will be showing up that day, but also has an investor that she's only an investor and he's still under in chief. Chuck asks how Lola feels about Nate's ex being around, but Nate admits he hasn't exactly told Lola about his romantic history with Diana. Nate promises that her return means nothing to him, but Chuck says it might mean something to Diana. Nate replies that once he gets into the lay of the land with Diana, he can become queen of Lola. At the Waldorf, Serena congratulates Blair on finally getting her divorce papers. Blair then gets a Gossip Girl blast about her divorce. She wonders how she already knew, and Serena suggests someone may have taken it in front of the building, and then mentions how she hasn't been mentioned once since Gossip Girl returned. Blair replies that since Serena is modeling a new line of lingerie named after her that night, Gossip Girl won't be able to resist talking about her. But when she realizes Serena is serious about wanting to stay off her radar forever, she says she finds a new it girl that everyone will want to talk about. Blair reasons that new girls need to be defining moments like Serena in her white dress in ninth grade. Elsewhere, Lola is walking around. Lola is walking around with some old friend from Florida, Aiden, and tells him about her new family. She confesses that she has to get to know Serena a little bit more, and Aiden says he can't get to know her unless they spend. Aiden says Lola can't get to know Serena unless they spend time together. While they walk, they run into Nate. Lola introduces them and asks if he wants to hang out, but Nate rejects the invite, saying he needs to go meet with Diana. Lola asks what he knows about her, and Nate brushes her off and walks away. Lola remarks that that was weird, and decides to look in Gossip Girl to see if there's anything about Diana, and finds an article on Diana and Nate when they were a couple. At the Waldorf, Dan proposes a full day of activities for him and Blair. However, Blair says that her royal seal is missing from her divorce papers, and she wouldn't want to be caught on technicality. Dan says that if it's that small, they could probably have it fixed that day. Blair says that the Grimaldi lawyers work very short hours. Blair says that she'll call him and walks away. Dan notices the papers on the table and is able to convince Dorota to leave the papers for him to look at because she's worried. Dorota leaves with the papers, and Dan opens his packet and finds that not only did Louise sign it, but the royal seal is also there. He also notices that Blair hasn't signed yet. At the Spectator, Nate arrives to find Diana sitting in his office. He demands to know what she's doing there, and she says that she gets an office. Wait, no, that's Australian. She gets an office, and she gets the office. That she gets the office and wants his back, and wants it back at the Waldorf. Serena's going through tabloids and circling potential new girls when Lola arrives. She says that she just found out Diana's the new investor and also Nate's ex. He lied to her. Serena realizes that she found a solution, tells Lola what to do. The two leave. At the Spectator, Nate says that being an investor entitles Diana to nothing, and that his name is already on the masthead. Diana says investors won't do business with Nate now that she's back. And she knows that the investors are down. That the investments are down. She's hosting a down to your skivvies party back to bring it back up. Nate replies that she can't host a party for the paper without him, and Diana grudgingly agrees. She assumes that he'll have a +1, and he tells her that he'll be bringing Lola. At the law, I'm surprised that Nate is dating his best friend's half-sister. It seems more grosser now. It was more gross when we found out she was his cousin, but now we know that Lola is that Lola is Serena's half-sister. It's not even gross now that Nate's dating her. At the lawn, Lily and Rufus ask Rufus if he wants to have brunch, then go to Barney. He says that he just came back from the city where he saw Ivy and asked if she would move out of the apartment in return for having the assets for him. Lily's horrified that Rufus would talk with a criminal like Ivy, but Rufus continues that Ivy agreed to leave as soon as possible. Lily calls her lawyers, and Lily says that while it's a nice gesture, she can't live with letting Ivy have money. Rufus mentions that she has plenty of money, and Lily agrees to call her lawyer. At the Empire, Chuck is meeting with Andrew Tyler to tell him about Elizabeth having been living in Vienna for the past 6 months. But he hasn't made contact. But he asks how Chuck wants to proceed. Chuck confesses that he isn't sure, and Andrew says that at this point, Chuck needs a friend more than a PI. He's just talked to someone who got to know Elizabeth last time to help him decide. But Chuck replies that the only person who did is the only person not in his life anymore, Blair. Andrew asks why he paid her dowry then. Chuck says that she doesn't know, and he doesn't want her to find out. So it was Chuck who paid the dowry. Meanwhile, Serena and Lola arrive at a stop when the lingerie show will be held. A shop where the lingerie show will be held. Lola asks if she's overreacting about Nate, and Serena says that while Nate is a great guy, Diana is aggressive, and she's probably back for Nate. She also says that even if Diana wasn't back, Lola not wanting to be a part of his world is an issue, since sharing interest is a part of being in a relationship. Lola argues that she has no interest in the Upper East Side, but Serena replies that she doesn't want to meet them. She doesn't want to meet him halfway, and that she'll be looking for someone like Diana who will. Serena picks up a piece of lingerie and convinces Lola to try it on. She waits until Lola has it on, and then pulls the fire alarm. Serena grabs all the Lola's clothes and yells that they need to leave. Because this is a part of Serena's plan to get Lola to be the it girl by seeing her stealing getting all of her clothes. This is a weird episode. They need to head out. Lola's still in I don't know how to say that word. Still in different clothes. Or the Niji. That's what it says. The Nejalichi. That's what it says. That's hard to say. At the Spectator, Dan explains out to Nate about Blair having divorce papers but not signing them. Nate says he's humphering out. And Diana comes in with recent numbers announces their dismissal and leaves. Nate admits that Chuck was going to invest, but he isn't liquid enough. Dan asks how could that be, and Nate reveals that he played Blair's dowry. Dan realizes that's why she didn't sign the papers, and Chuck says he was just trying to do a nice thing, but Dan reminds him that is Chuck. That it is Chuck. Before leaving. At the Waters, Blair's about to leave when she's stopped by Dorota, who asks why she let Dan about signing the paper. Blair says she is going to sign them eventually, but wasn't ready to let go yet. The elevator comes up, and once the door opens, she sees Chuck inside. Upstairs, Lola sees a photo of herself in the Neja Leggy in Gospel. Serena says the photo combined with being the real Charlie, means everyone will be talking about her. Serena gets an email from Tracy from the show asking her for Lola to model the show. Lola says no until Serena says it will be impress Nate and show Diana who one of the party sponsors. Serena then gets an email from Diana asking her to post that she's attending the show with Nate as her date. Lola's getting ready to leave, and when she does so, Serena quickly types and sends a blast. She tells Lola to check out the girl again, and she sees that she sees the blast for herself. Downstairs, Chuck's confessing his feelings about everything involving Elizabeth to Blair. She asks what he wants from her, and Chuck says he just wants someone to talk who will understand. Blair says she's not the one to ask, but Chuck says he's coming to her as a friend who needs help. Blair isn't convinced and tells Chuck that she thinks he's using his mother as an angel to work his way back to her life. She walks off, and he goes to leave when he bumps into Serena. She asks what he's doing here, and he sadly says he thought he was coming to ask a friend for advice, but he was wrong. He tells her about the blood transfusion, and Serena says he should do it because he's reconnecting with the family. Reconnecting with family is worth the risk. As a spectator, Nate is trying to convince Lola that Gossip Girl was wrong, and that he isn't going to part with Diana. Lola says he already lied to her about Diana once and is probably doing it again. He apologizes, and Lola asks why he keeps looking at the door. Nate explains Diana is determined to kick him out, and one last thing he needs is to fight with her. Where Diana can see. Lola tells him that they need to talk that night, but he says no since he has to go to the party. He promised her that it's a work event and not a personal one. Elsewhere outside, Dan gets a Gossip Girl blast about Chuck leaving the Waldorf. He calls Blair and accidentally reveals that Chuck paid her dowry. Blair says she had no idea. Chuck paid it and hangs up, deciding to go find him. At the law, Rufus gets a call from Ivy's lawyer. He says that Ivy received a call from the bank saying that the cashier's check waiting for her, and then she packed up and left the apartment. But when she got to the bank, they had no idea what she was talking about. Realizing that, Lily played, and this makes Rufus realize that, Lily basically messed with Ivy. At the Spectator, Dan announces that he heard Nate fight with Lola and suggests they go together. Nate says that it sends the wrong message, and Dan says that it looks good for the paper doing well, and it'll probably be good for the business. At the Waldorf, Lola fills in Serena on the new Nate developments, and she says the two options are stay home and not to worry, or come to the model. Lola says she'll be at the show with a date. At the show, Lily arrives with Aiden. She sees Serena, who assures her that once Dan sees her model, she'll realize she's a force to be reckoned with, and her and Nate will be the hottest couple. She pulls up to get ready, but Lola says she wants to introduce herself to Diana, and she does. And also tells her that she was the invited model. Nate says he didn't know that, and Lola says he wouldn't have had any reason to. Aiden attempts to hit on Diana, but she says she and Nate have more people to say hello to. She wants Lola not to lose two men to her on one night, and walks off with Nate. After all, Rufus says he knows. Rufus tells Lily he knows what she did, and she admits she never called her lawyer, and now that she's out, she needs to make sure she can. She admits that she never called Ivy's lawyer, but now that Ivy's out, she'll make sure that Ivy can't get back in. Lily says that she did nothing wrong, and that after everything Ivy has done, she deserves exactly what's happened to her. Rufus says she lied to him, and that he's not okay with it. She asks if they can just pack and go home, but he says right now the law feels more like the home than the penthouse does. At the back, so Lily's being more sketchy, and Rufus is done. I get where Lily's coming from, but going behind his back and basically lying to Ivy, that's wrong. Why is Lily always such a sketchy person? I don't know why. But still. First she forged Ben's signature, then she lied to Ivy. What is up with this woman? Well, you know, she forged Serena's signature and lied about it. Now she forged Serena's signature, which got Ben sent to prison, and now she's trying to. Then she lied to Ivy about there being money for her at the bank or something. This woman cannot help herself, but getting in other people's business. Back at the party, Diana tells Nate that everyone's excited she's back. Nate says he thinks Diana came back for him and she wasn't able to convince herself that Nate was just a fling and couldn't move on. While wanting to prove him he's wrong, Diana finds Aiden and kisses him. She pulls him aside and Lola comes out asking where he's going, and Nate replies that they're both gonna get what they want, where they want him to. But then Diana arrives and confronts Chuck. He missed the paying the dowry, but now he's doing it to buy her. He promises that he only wants her to be free, and whatever she wants to do with that freedom is her choice, then walks away. Boylan shows up and apologizes for telling her. In the dressing room, Diane begins to strip Aiden and preparing to sleep with him. Meanwhile, Nate and Lola are in the next room recording her. Serena then opens the door and becomes angry with two of them, especially Lola for using her. Well, am I supposed to be like, nah, I'm mad at Serena? Because that's always how I am. I'm always mad at her when Serena's doing sketchy things. And this is sketchy. Her blaming Ivy, her blaming Lola for Serena's own doing. So yeah. But it's actually the other way around. Serena's using Lola. Lola wasn't using her. It was Serena who was the user. Serena just needs someone to take the blame on, so she's blaming on the person that she was using the whole time. After the girls walk off, Diana then walks in. She demands to know what he's doing, and Nate says that Aiden's only 16 and she can't run the spectator from jail. Diana tells him that he can't release the video because recording and disturbing child pornography is also a crime. Well, you know, recording and disputing child pornography is also a crime. He didn't realize she's right, and at the same time Dan and Blair are talking, she admits she isn't used to seeing Chuck to be selfless. She isn't used to seeing Chuck be selfless, and she isn't used to seeing Chuck be selfless, and Dan says people can surprise them. Blair admits that her not signing had nothing to do with Chuck, but she always wanted to be a princess, but never got to be one. Backstage, Lola apologized to Serena, even though Serena should be the apologizer because she was the one using Lola this entire time, and says that she only agreed to come to the party and make it look like she was fighting with Nate. She knows that Serena wants the it girl thing for her, but it has no appeal to her, and Nate doesn't care either. Serena says all Lola did was let her down and tells Tracy that Lola won't be modeling. Tracy informs Serena that after the photo earlier got so much attention, they decided to get more buzz if it was named the Lola and not Serena, so they changed the name. Tells Serena that she can't model the Lola and that she can't model something else. Next day, Serena gets to know the real Gossip Girl, telling her to give her sight back. Lola then apologizes again for the night before. Serena accepts her apology, even though Serena's not apologizing for using Lola this entire time. Serena should be the one apologizing, because she's the one that used Lola, and they got mad at her and accused her of using her, but it was Serena who was using Lola this entire time, which makes Serena a hypocrite because she was the user the whole time, and she gets away with it, not even apologizing for using Lola this entire time, so Serena gets scot-free with her crime of using her half-sister, or to her it's her cousin, but we know it's her half-sister. She gets to get away with using her half-sister like that with no punishment. Man, this show will not punish its characters. Yeah. Serena apologized for pushing her, and Lola says that she got a call from an agent wanting to set her a meeting. Serena asks what Nate thinks, and Lola replies that he was happy for her. She continues that if she's an it girl, she wants to have every every girl vibe that more people can relate to. Serena warns her that these kind of things are fleeting, and Lola accepts that. Serena announced her to hang out with her later, then leaves. She goes back to reading Gossip Girl emails and seeing that everyone is now asking for information about Lola. At the Spectator, Diana goes to talk to Nate. She tells him that she didn't realize how upset he was at her, and that she wants to find a way for them to work together. Wow, my British impression is very good. He says he didn't know, and she apologizes for not being honest from the very beginning, including working with William. Will is the Vanderwood's dad. William is the grandfather. This show has two Williams on it. She then admits that she took the fall for revealing the Gossip Girl sources because she just wanted to punish herself. And she finally finishes saying the Spectator is his and that she has other businesses to be her focus on, and she should find another office downstairs. She admits still having feelings for him, but she won't let her feelings dictate her work or his relationship with Lola. Meanwhile, Chuck meets with Andrew Tyler, who tells him that he made contact with Elizabeth. She says she shows him a monastery in Tibet when Chuck has action. And Chuck replies that she's lying, but Andrew says that he looked into her story and it checked out. He tells Andrew to keep looking because he needs to find who donated the blood. Elsewhere, Dan bring Blair to the Met steps in an evening gown and a tiara. He thanks her. She asks what's going on, and Dan says that he wants her to feel like a princess one last time. Several young girls run up to Blair out of their minds, excited to meet her. They ask Dan to take pictures, which he does. Outside, Lola gets a blast claiming her throwing laundry of a stage, and that the only real girl is Serena. Charlie's calling Nate, but is told he's in with Diana. Then sees paparazzi and decides to let them take her photo. At the Vanderwoods, Vanya brings Lily's stuff up and asks to get Rufus stuff, and she sadly says that it's only her stuff for now. Back at the Rufus is unpacking to come home. At the Empire, Chuck gets a text from Blair thanking him for setting her free, and at the Waldorf, Serena finishes her post saying that she's there to stay as Gossip Girl. Ending the episode. So, yeah, Serena got off scot-free. She did not face any punishment for using her cousin or half-sister or whatever you can call it. She did not get any. She accused Lola of using her when it was Serena who was using Lola. So, wow. Okay, so now we gotta find out who gave Chuck the blood, who saved his life. Since it wasn't Jack, since he has hepatitis B, hepatitis C, and his mom was in Tibet. So in a monastery in Tibet. So who gave him the blood? Hopefully we find out in the next episode. And Rufus and Lily are now sleeping. Lily may have got her penthouse back, but she lost her husband because of her sketchy way of trying to force Ivy out of the apartment. So she may have got her penthouse back, but she lost the trust of her husband by the way she did in handling the way of kicking Ivy out. Of course, I agree on both sides, that her side of saying that Ivy pretended to be her niece and did all the bad stuff. But I also give Rufus that, yeah, he basically realized that his wife isn't the woman that she was when he married her. Lily wasn't the person he married. And, literally, at least he's realizing this now. He took a blind eye when Jenny was around, but now he's finally realizing that, yeah, his wife is kind of messed up. But anyway, that's it for this video, and I'll see you next time for we got season 2, episode 20, Salon of the Dead. Blair and Dan decide to host a British salon as their way of coming out of it as a couple. And Lola gets suspicious of Serena being Gossip Girl and tries to tell Nate. But Nate doesn't want to hear it. Of course, she's right, and Nate's an idiot. This is what I was saying, that when the characters are dumbed down for the plot. The next episode where Nate's dumbed down. I understand where he doesn't want to believe that Serena hated Gossip Girl. How could she be the one thing that she hated? But Lola is right. Lola got of course, we'll find the next episode what that proof is. But still, Nate is an idiot and this not believing Lola cost him his relationship with her. But still, anyway, see you next time. How will Blair and Dan's salon go? Will Chuck find out who his mom is? And will Serena and will Lola actually prove to dumb Nate, because Nate is for some reason written dumb in the next episode, that Serena is Gossip Girl. Find out next time. But you know you love me. XOXO, Gossip Girl. Even we know that Serena's Gossip Girl now. But XOXO, Gossip Girl.